What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the Fumble Live. Thanks so much for tuning in today. We are getting into some more James Harden drama, some news about him maybe being toxic on his team. We're also talking about Lavar Ball and how he came to the defense of another NBA star. But before we do all that, make sure you subscribe to our channel, tap the bell for notifications, give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment below, and share it with your friends. Here's the Fumble Squad. We are not matching for the first time in like a week. You guys can find me on Instagram as @DevonHoward.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Jackie Ray. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter @JRayTheFanatic.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your girl, Britt Johnson. You guys can follow me on all social media @IamBrittJohnson.
I feel very proud of us. I see Jackie and we both decided to go with the patterns today because probably we knew it would be hard to match a pattern. Britt went with a unique gold color, so the matching streak is officially over.
What was that, 3 days straight?
Yes.
Crazy.
Yes.
Crazy. It was the weirdest thing ever. Okay, you guys, let's jump in with this James Harden news. So, James Harden received preferential treatment from the Rockets, as most superstars do. We talk about this all the time, and we agree that when you are the leader on a team, you will get some flexibilities and freedoms that everybody else won't. And I think that that makes a lot of sense. But according to sources that talk to ESPN, James's preferential treatment might have been a little bit more on the toxic side. I'm curious to hear what you guys think about this. So sources close to the team said that James has often been granted permission to take a day off when there are 2 or 3 days between games. In those instances, he'll typically charter a private jet to Las Vegas or other cities so that he can go and blow off some steam and party. He also reportedly receives an excused absence from the first practice after every All-Star break so he can party as well. A former Rocket staffer explained the situation as being, quote, whatever James wants. And then he also really loves LA, he loves Phoenix, and there are a couple other cities that fall under the umbrella of the places that he really, really likes. And that would reportedly often result in the team staying overnight or even an extra day in those cities during road trips when it wasn't of a back-to-back set. And then some people within the franchise would describe his partying habits as just James being James, but others feel that it was this behavior that was a little bit too excessive. And now, with all of these trade talks happening, we know James requested a trade from the Rockets. I'm wondering how this is going to look to other teams. So, Jackie, I have to ask you, does this news make him even less desirable for possible trade destinations, or do you think that teams are able to accept all of this behavior, everything that we've seen in the last 2 weeks or so, if he continues to put up great numbers each night?
I don't think these points make him less desirable because I think we all know that when you have a star on your team, they're going to get preferential treatment. There's nothing surprising in any of what you just said. We know that this happens a lot. We know that sometimes we even talked about on The Last Dance, they gave Dennis Rodman a whole day to do whatever he wants as long as he gets out on the court and does his thing. This is not new. This isn't some like, oh my God, this has never happened before. This actually happens all the time. So I'm not at all surprised by this. I don't think that this is going to lower his stock. If this was just a thing, if people were saying this now, we wouldn't be hearing about these little extras that he's getting if he wasn't crying and not doing what he was supposed to be doing. This would never come up at all. We're only hearing about this because he's not honoring his contract. He's not realizing that the Houston Rockets hold all the cards and that he should go out there and be as professional as possible. If he was being professional, he could literally show up to practice every day, be professional, do what he's supposed to do, and say he wants to trade. We still wouldn't be hearing about this. We're only hearing about this now because he's not doing his part to be vital to that organization. And that is why it happens to everybody. If you do something that's not quite right, they're going to dig in your past. Nobody's doing a Twitter search on you until you say something stupid. And then they're like, oh, let's see if they've said something stupid before. So that's why this is coming up. But these facts about him don't bother me. What he's not doing on the court right now is bothering me.
Right, right. And actually, Britt, that was sort of my question for you. Like, why do you think all of this information is suddenly coming out about James and his, preferential treatment? Is it because people are just getting sick of the way he's been behaving in recent weeks?
It's always a hater in the group, and the same thing happened obviously with Kawhi, and to hear the stuff that James Harden's doing, what Kawhi just wants to be home with his family and like around his family. He's not like late to practice because he was at the strip club. He was late to practice because he's with his wife and kids. So that to me should be more a reason to like, oh, okay, you get a pass on that, instead of hearing James Harden just wants to party all the time and throw money at strippers and go to Vegas and go to Phoenix, where he went. We all know he went to Arizona State, so obviously he still likes to go back and hang out with his old crew and yada yada from 11, 12 years ago now. But I think it's just funny. Like, it's just like everybody has a hater in whatever. Obviously, Kawhi's situation, we know Trez was like the culprit for that situation, and then now we got to find out who the hater for James Harden is, because these sources are just trying to leak information and maybe it's James Harden leaking this information to get out of Houston. Who knows what's happening? But people with the Rockets are leaking something with the Rockets to make sure that they know that, or everybody knows James Harden is a diva and this, that, and the third, so they can try to get rid of him with Houston. Or maybe the Houston Rockets are leaking the information because they don't want anybody else to pick up James Harden and they want to keep him on the squad. There's a hater in the group, and there's always a hater that comes out and tries to say something. And if you ain't a star or whatever, you're not going to have haters. So this is just yep, I've been doing the dang thing because somebody has to hate on me now because of it. So if you were whack and you weren't doing anything, we would not have haters in the building. If you weren't living up to your situation, because people do think you are this high and you need to be acting like a certain way, he wouldn't have a hater saying anything about it, to Jackie's point.
Right.
And there was somebody from the Rockets hanging out with him. It wasn't like he went by himself. I am positive that there was someone else from the Houston Rockets hanging out with him. That person didn't get mentioned, and it's because that person's not the star, and that person's not requesting a trade. But nah, this is funny to me, because I just see the people right now that were with him like, oh, I hope they don't say my name because I wasn't even supposed to be there. So, yeah, no, he wasn't alone.
Right. That's a good point, Jackie. He's definitely not chartering these private jets and then flying solo, not bringing anybody from his team with him. But yeah, I do think it's interesting. There have been things that James Harden has done that I think we can all agree are the wrong move. But in this situation, people trying to dig up, these sort of private scenarios that he's had with his teammates, these agreements that he's made with the franchise so that he can go party. I feel like this is all just an attempt to, kind of like smear his name and make him seem less desirable. I think that, wow, I just kicked my tripod. Sorry about that, you guys. Britt, the point that you just brought up about an insider like not wanting to let him go from the Rockets, I feel like that could very easily be what's going on right now, because I will say that all of these headlines about him, all of this partying, even though it's common practice in the NBA, I feel like it's not helping his case here at all, in conjunction with all the other news that we've heard about him. So let's get into this second news update, you guys. Lavar Ball, of course, Lavar is talking as usual, but he's actually coming to the defense of another NBA star. It's not a Ball brother, but it is somebody who plays with a Ball brother, Zion Williamson. So Zion Williamson's weight has been a hot topic of conversation for a long time now, pretty much since he entered the NBA, but then even more so since the Pelicans left the bubble. He's a big guy. We know that about him. And LeVar thinks that everybody needs to leave Zion alone. He thinks that it's really inappropriate that people are continuing to talk about Zion's body. He said that Zion has always been a good eater and a hefty dude and plays how he plays. He a big country boy. Leave him alone. He loves basketball and has a big body. He can't help it that he's big and can move like that. People like to create the he's too big narrative, but he's jumping out of the gym at 220. Who cares? He runs 100 miles an hour. Britt, is it unfair to discuss Zion's body? Do you think people are being too harsh?
I think people are trying to help the brother out. Like they're trying to make sure
Right.
that he does have a long career because everybody does believe that he's a great player. Like one of the first guys to come out and talk about it was Glenn Big Baby Davis, who his career was shortened him and he didn't play to the status everyone thought he was going to be because he was just too dang big, you know? And he was one of the first people that speak on Zion's weight because it's an issue. Same thing with Zion ripping through his sneaker when he was at Duke or whatever. It's a big boy, you know, and he needs to make sure that he stays. And when we've seen the difference when he is a little smaller compared to when he's bigger, and he's getting more tired when he's in games and this, that, and the third. So it's. I think people are just trying to help him out, and I think when your body is your job, you're just going to be put up for, you know, scrutiny, and people are going to say something because that is your job. People are going to be like, all the time in the NBA and in the NFL, like, the guy's 6'1", we want a guy that's 6'2". It could be an inch, and they'd be tripping off an inch. It's in football, you have to keep a certain weight between a certain weight. Eddie Lacy used to get fined almost every single game because he wouldn't make weight. Players get fined for not making weight. So your body is your job. So I don't think it's like a thing where people need to back off and just let Zion do Zion, because no, he's getting paid a lot of money and he is supposed to perform and look a certain way and stay under a certain weight and all of this kind of stuff. So I think it's perfectly normal. I think the only reason why LeVar Ball is sticking up for him is because he plays on the same team as his son. If that wasn't the case, he'd be talking crap about him too. He's only being nice because he is also with the Pelicans, and so is Lonzo.
I know. I think it's so funny that for once we have LeVar coming out in defense of something. Normally he's the one that's like, oh, they're whack, they're raggedy as hell. But now he's like, oh, you guys need to leave Zion alone. It's just funny to me. LeVar is... Right, exactly. He's such a character. But yeah, I think that with Zion, we've seen what happens when, like you said, Britt, when athletes are too heavy or when they're not taking care of their bodies or whatever, and their careers are shortened. We want to see Zion in the league for a long time. So I think these conversations are definitely warranted and they're relevant to especially Pelicans fans. Jackie, do you feel like these are the kinds of conversations that you sign up for when you become a major athlete?
Oh, for sure. I want to know when this 100 miles running thing. I ain't never seen Zion move super fast up and down the court. Like, did I miss that? Because I definitely haven't seen that. I don't know what he's talking about, but yeah, you definitely sign up for that. And I agree with Britt. You know, sometimes conversations that these athletes endure, they endure trolls too. They get people hating for no reason. We've seen that with Russell Westbrook. People constantly say that he's a bad teammate, but not one teammate has said that about him. So sometimes the media does spin things that aren't necessarily true. But in this case, I think the league and the media has this true infatuation, true love for Zion, and they just want to be like, hey, my guy, this is going to be bad for you, so we're going to keep reminding you that you are in New Orleans and we know the food is good, but no, you have to do better. So in this particular case, not only did he sign up for it, but I think the intentions behind what he's hearing are actually really, really good. I think people just really want him to do well. But in LeVar's case, I still ain't seen this 100 miles. I'll go back and watch the tape, but I ain't seen that.
Well, to be clear, you guys, we are talking about people that are in the NBA, media people. We are not talking about you trolls that are just, hey, Zion, you fat as heck, da-da-da-da. Like, in the comment section, no, you are not being, like, productive and helpful to his career. You are saying that. No, you are sitting on the couch yourself, not doing a dang thing. Right. So we're not talking about y'all. We're not giving y'all a pass to now go call Zion fat. Just FYI.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's all about constructive criticism. If you're a troll and you're just being cruel online, that's not helping the conversation, which every time that I get assigned a story about an athlete's weight, which I did get one this morning, Jackie's going to be talking about it in the post-up, I always feel really bad because I have to read the super mean tweets that people put out. And it's like, my God, would you want that tweet to be tied to your name if you were actually facing the athlete that you were talking about? So
I just
don't be a troll.
When people do that, I think I know this will never happen, but I always want to make it mandatory that we see a live picture of you, not the picture when you were 50 pounds lighter. I need to see a live picture of you sitting there with Cheetos and root beer floats and a whole full-on meat lovers pizza in front of you, tweeting about somebody's weight. Right. There's that's what I need to see.
You're talking about me ugly or something. Y'all say something ugly. And I'm like,
right. And you excited.
Stop it.
And you excited about this pandemic because now you get to wear a mask, and you happy about that because now people can't see your face. Stop playing. Right.
I actually love root beer floats, Jackie, so I might eat that eventually.
But you're not going to eat that big meat lovers pizza. No, you're not. You're not going to do that.
Absolutely not. I won't be eating that. But yeah, I mean, it's true, you guys. So for those of you that, I mean, we've seen our fair share of trolls in the chat here. Yeah, one actually just popped up right now. What's up? So that's not helping the conversation, but when we look at Zion's career and we see how early on he is in his NBA career, we want to see him be there for a long time. And unfortunately, that's not going to happen if he stays, on the heavier side and puts too much pressure on his joints and on his body and all of that. So I think it's funny that Lavar is coming out and defending him so hard. It's a refreshing look for Lavar, but if Lonzo were to get cut tomorrow, he'd be talking shit about Zion in a second. So it's probably going to be short-lived. So let's wrap up Need to Know News, you guys. Jackie, take us into the post-up.
Yes, this one's going to be a fun one. Post-up with your girl, Jackie Ray. I'm excited about today because this is what you guys have been waiting for, and we're going to get to it right now instead of making y'all wait because none of y'all have patience. But normally, I do not care at all about preseason. I understand that it's very valuable because it's important for the coaches to see, who they're working with. It's important for a lot of guys to make sure they're game ready, basketball ready, not just, in the gym ready. So I get that it's very, very important. And it's important for some guys who are trying to prove themselves as well. And that's exactly what Kyle Guy has done. He was recently called up from a two-way contract with the Kings G League team. And last night he had an opportunity to kind of be the hero in the situation. What's interesting is Luke Walton specifically wrote this play up for him, and it worked perfectly. Take a look.
Win it on a three. Guy. Good ball fake. Pump fake for the lead. Hotter than fish grease. The final.
Hotter than fish grease.
Kings win it.
I have never heard a play in the preseason be referred to as hotter than fish grease. I think you saved those anecdotes for the regular season, but that's just me. Guy finished the night with 20 points. He was shooting 6 for 10 from the 3-point line, and I don't know if he'll get a permanent starting roster, but I think if he continues to play like this, he probably will be. But here's the thing, guys. Every time somebody hits a three to a buzzer beater, the Steph Curry slander starts almost immediately. And let me just tell you, because I know a lot of you guys are in school. Some of you guys are ditching your online class right now to watch us. We appreciate you, but education is important. But that paper that you write, don't just get your facts from Wikipedia, because anybody can change Wikipedia. And that's exactly what they did. Look at this posting. I don't know if you guys can see that. It tells you who Kyle Guy is, but then at the very bottom it says he is the owner of the Golden State Warriors and the father of Steph Curry. Who wrote this? This is ridiculous. And it eventually got changed back. But the fact that somebody says, "Oh, here's one guy that came up from the G League, made one good shot in a preseason, and was like, this is the time for me to go onto Wikipedia and call him Steph's dad." Who are you people? This is insane to me. But Devin, do you have any thoughts about the person? Because we don't know. You can see, I didn't go to, because it was deleted by the time I got to it, but you can see who made these updates. I missed that opportunity. But what do you have to say to the person who made this update on Wikipedia?
I think it's funny. I would probably congratulate them on being clever and doing something funny. I don't know. I find amusement in it. I don't think it's ridiculous at all. I think I like it. I enjoy it.
I hate it. It's preseason. If he does this in a game that gets his team to the playoffs, then okay. It's preseason. He just came up from the G League. This too soon. I don't like it.
People
I don't
are
like
excited. People are excited.
Okay.
The funny thing is, like, I watched the beginning of the game yesterday. I don't really like preseason, so I don't really watch. But I just wanted to see because Steph Curry was starting, and I just wanted to see how he got back into he made the first 8 points of the game, and then literally when the score was like 15 something, he made 11 of those points and then went on to make 29 points. So I'm just like, is he really the dad of Steph Curry?
Right.
Like, Steph Curry made 29 points yesterday. Like, stop it. It's preseason. Let him have his little moment because he might not even play in a regular season game. So I love how the Kings bench got super excited about it, even though it was a preseason game, because again, like, Kyle probably could go back down to the Stockton Kings and be on the G League team again, or he can come back. You know what I mean? This is like a situation where be on the team come regular season. So I thought it was a cute little moment. But it was funny that you said that about Wikipedia, because I recently looked on Wikipedia on the NBA page for the slam dunk contest, and somebody changed last year's winner to be Aaron Gordon, because you guys know how I always say Aaron Gordon should have won, and he's there as the winner. And I was like, y'all, I didn't change that, but I like it. But
yes, that's what I'm saying.
I don't trust Wikipedia. Somebody were to come out and read that and be like, well, Aaron Gordon won. Well, Aaron Gordon didn't win last year, actually, but it literally says he won last year, and it's still up there to this.
Yeah, I've gotten full-on fights with people about Wikipedia. I'm like, it says right there, so-and-so changed this 10 minutes ago. Why are we having this conversation? So yes, do further research, guys. But this next one is going to be fun, because I tell people all the time, when you're going to buy an expensive car, specifically a Rolls Royce, if you cannot afford a driver, don't buy that car. I used to see Jermaine Jackson driving up Sunset every single weekend when I first moved to LA in his white Rolls Royce, driving it himself. No, that's a car that you are supposed to have someone else drive it for you. Someone else is supposed to be opening your door. AD knows that, but Trez thinks he's being a little extra, and they keep trolling each other on all the stuff they got, which is hilarious to me. Take a look.
You open the door for him, bro? Yeah. You do? You do? Hey, so this man gets his door open, right? Damn, it must be nice, bro.
It is nice.
Oh, I'm just go to work, bro. I'm going to work.
He act like he got a Hyundai sitting in the parking lot. Stop it. He's doing a lot. But AD was like, okay, if you're going to put me on blast, let's see you talk about this ice that you're wearing on the plane. That's entirely different from the ice that we saw in his locker room. So let's take a look at that.
What up, Trez? Hey, Trez.
What's the driver? He's not coming? The driver's not coming?
Trez, what up, bro? Oh, Trez, what up, Trez? Trez, that's crazy. For the plane?
Right.
For the plane?
That is a lot for the plane.
Trez, for the plane, though? For the plane? That's how you go for the plane?
The trolling between these two do not stop. Apparently, COVID testing is also a reason to troll, because you know they have to get tested frequently. So they're on their way to get tested for COVID, and let the trolling continue. Let's take a look at that.
We only going to get tested. This man got a bodyguard with him. My God. COVID ain't going to jump on you, dog. It's all right. COVID ain't going to jump on you, man. It's cool, man. It's cool.
That is hilarious. COVID ain't gonna jump on you. I love that. Shannon Sharp had said something about Trez, that he's kind of that, he has that mentality that he automatically gravitates to the leaders and he's gonna roll with the leaders on his team. So Devin, I have to go to you. How does this do your heart like some brings it joy to see these two getting along like this, like so quickly?
Yes, I absolutely love this. I think it's a really, really good sign. Now, I've talked about this before. My love language is pretty much making fun of another person until pretty much we're in a fight and we don't want to speak again. But I troll people so hard. If you're close to me, I spare nothing. So I like seeing them like this, because this reminds me of like the good relationships that I have in my life, which sounds kind of messed up, but I like that they're able to poke fun with each other. They're having fun with each other. I think it's a good sign of what's to come this season.
Yeah, I'm with you. That's not my love language, because my love language is like affection and stuff like that. But every time I call my brother, I've never called my brother by his real name. I always say, hey, what's up, big head, or something like that. So totally with you on that one as well, Devin. All right. So look, we talked about Lavar Ball a little bit, and I've been on a few podcasts this week, and to say that, Lavar is just being Lavar. At some point you have to accept him. But I was on a podcast last night with my friend Nick Hamilton, and he says that the media should stop giving Lavar Ball a platform. And I can tell you right now, some of you guys have said that as well, and you've told us we need to just let that go. We're not, because he continues to say the most ridiculous things. Bleacher Report had that Ask Me Anything seminar or talk back with the fans, and he said a few things that I want to talk about. This one says, when he was asked if LeBron wanted Lonzo out of LA, he said, LeBron didn't do anything. It was just the coaching over there. Coaches didn't know how to play LeBron and Lonzo together. You saw they brought on one new guy and they won a championship. It was that simple. This is funny to me, because you are saying that one guy who is AD, that he deserves to be in the same sentence with Lonzo. That's hilarious. No, sir. That is not one guy. That is AD. Your son is light years from even measuring up to that. So that was funny to me. But he also said that he wanted all of his boys to play together at some point. I'm not mad at that. He says, we're just getting started. When they all get on the same team, it's going to be the greatest thing ever. I hope it happens in Charlotte. I don't know if it'll happen in Charlotte. I'm not mad at this, but it seems like Jello need to get on a team first. Baby steps, my guy. Let's start there. And then this is the one that has everyone talking, because I don't know why he would say this, but when asked about a one-on-one, he said, stop it. LaMelo, Steph is too little. He's only like 6'3" or 6'2". LaMelo is taller than him and longer than him. That does not mean he's got Steph Curry talent. I feel like LaVar just finds the great and then let me place one, either myself when he compares himself to Jordan, or one of his kids up against the great. This is unnecessary. He didn't even have to say this, but Britt, what do you think about this comment from LaVar Ball?
I thought it was funny. I do think he could just be ahead of his time. Obviously, right now, if they go one-on-one, I'm winning dollars for whoever I pick. I'm picking Steph Curry in this situation. But, I mean, LaMelo is 6'8", and he's a young guy, and give it a few years and have this conversation again. I could be leaning more towards LaMelo. But at this point today, yes, Steph Curry's going to win. We all know LaVar has been ahead of his time on more than one occasion. So maybe he's just talking about in a few years.
Right.
He's probably already broke every bone in his body.
Yeah,
can't play at that level anymore. Right. And LaMelo's at the top of his career, and then have them play one-on-one against each other. So I think that's what he's really thinking about right here. This is my prediction, is what he really believes it's going to happen in the future, not right now.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, that good old LaVar being LaVar. But yeah, let's move on to this next one, which is probably one of my favorites of the day, because I believe this is when a king just lets things go. You know what I mean? He doesn't bring up old stuff. Case in point, Thalen Horton-Tucker. Now, after he put up 19 points and 9 rebounds in his first preseason game against the Clippers, my King James tweeted this. I don't know if you guys saw this tweet, but he basically said, telling you right now, this kid is going to be something special. Mark my words. So, I thought that was a beautiful thing, because I don't know if you guys remember, but back in the day, little Mr. Thalen was a hater, and he clowned the whole Delonte West sleeping with LeBron's mom rumors. And he said Doc Rivers and Austin are the first father and son being on the same team since Delonte West and LeBron James. And we ain't forgot. Now, that tweet has been deleted, but we have not forgot that. And I would bet my last dollar that LeBron did not even bring this up, because, he's like, what? That's old stuff. We here now. We going to move on. But Devin, what do you think? Do you think that LeBron brought this up now that he's on the squad with them?
No way. LeBron is the kind of guy, we've talked about this before. He knows how to get into that championship mindset. He knows how to focus on what's important to his teammates, and he's never going to bring this up. But I did see a funny rumor online about this, that it was Clippers fans trying to throw a wrench in the Lakers' chemistry by unearthing old tweets like this. But it was 5 years ago. It was a long time ago. So I don't think that anybody's paying any attention to it now except for the fans.
Right. I agree with that. Yeah, nobody's paying attention to that. But us LeBron fans, we have not forgot. Don't do nothing stupid, because we'll bring this up again. But just so you know. Okay, so we talked about weight a little earlier. I think you've got 3 ladies on the panel right now. So we know that what you have to do is watch your angles. You can't be shooting stuff from wrong angles because it'll make you look bigger than what you are. You need the right lighting, all of that. But I don't think that's what's happening here, because take a look at this picture. We were just talking about James Harden showing up to practice looking a little fat. That's the picture with him in the red. And then the picture of him in the black, he looked damn near anorexic. What's going on? How did he slim down so fast in a day? I need answers. Of course, Twitter had something to say about that. A few users were like, oh, it's the first person said it is the angles. The second person, I am not buying that. It said it's the shirt tucked in. It's not hard to comprehend. A tucking in a shirt is not going. No, that's not it. Britt, what is going on in this picture? Do you know? Is it the shirt or is it the angles?
You know, when I first saw the picture, the bigger picture, I was just like, what's Rick Ross doing out there? What's Ricky Rose doing out there? Because he did look a little extra thick over there, okay? And Rick Ross is one of my favorite rappers, so that's no shade. I was here for it.
He just big, though. He's big, though.
But I don't know. I think the second one, when you're up shooting, obviously we know as girls, if you're sitting up straight and doing this, your stomach's going to suck up in. And when you're out just walking around, you could just be bloated, in different parts of the day. In the morning time when you haven't eaten, that's when you want to do your photo shoots because you look skinnier. At nighttime, you got your little gut coming in and everything's, this all kind of crazy. So I think it was just, a moment when you're up, leaning, shooting, you're going to look a little leaner. But he did look he looked a little Ricky Rose-ish in that picture. So
I love the Ricky Rose. I love that. That is my jam. All right, before me and Britt bust out into full-on Masked Singer song and dance, let me just move on to this next one. Because I would love for somebody, even if it was LeVar Ball, I would love for him to talk enough trash to shut up Jake Paul. I don't think that it's going to happen. I don't think anybody can shut up Jake Paul. But martial artist, you guys probably know him if you follow UFC at all, Dylan Dennis. He was out here in LA. He was doing some sort of promo or maybe a commercial. I don't know. Could have been doing a TikTok nowadays. I don't know. But Jake is driving by and he sees him, and look what he does. Watch this.
Hey, look, it's Conor McGregor's bitch right there. Pussy. Pussy. Shit. Pussy. Oh my God. Dip. Pussy. Fuck you, bitch. You're a bitch.
Who's the B word in this situation? You don't want throwing the water balloons and driving away because you don't want the hands. Don't do that. If you about that life, park the car, get out, and let's see who got the hands. This is ridiculous. And of course, Dylan went to his Twitter and he noted the obvious. He put up this tweet that says, Jake Paul, after throwing water balls at him, he's a you-know-what. And so I totally agree with that. I would fight him myself. I would fight Jake Paul myself, but I would lose, and I don't want to get embarrassed like that. So I'm just going to tap out. But I would bet that my girl, Amanda Nunes, she would knock him out. And look, there's a possibility that this will happen because you guys know Dana White said there's not a chance in hell that he will let the Conor McGregor and Jake Paul fight happen. He said it'll never happen. But he said, quote, I'm thinking of letting Amanda Nunes knock his ass out. I'm with it. So is Amanda. She actually responded to this comment and she said, I'm in. So I'm cool with this. If y'all haven't seen Amanda Nunes fight, y'all are missing out. Go back and watch that. I got her winning that fight for sure. Britt, What do you think? Do you think we might actually see an Amanda Nunes Jake Paul fight?
I don't think we're going to see the fight, but I would love to see it. I don't think we're going to see it because I think Jake Paul knows better than that. Like, Amanda is not somebody to play with. She's won like 24. Her fights only last like 2, I think, 1 or 2 fights.
No, she's 20-4. She's lost 4.
Half of her fights have been knockouts.
Yeah.
Half of her wins have been knockouts. So she ain't with the crap. Like, and I think that she was knock him. I don't know if it's going to be a knockout situation, but she's definitely going to win by decision at least.
Oh, he was.
And
yeah.
in that moment, Jake is going to not Nate Robinson got beat by a white boy. Jake got beat by a girl.
Beat by a woman, yeah.
But I always say, if a man can't do the job, bring a woman in and we'll get it done.
Yep.
So I'm just saying, I'm here for this. I would love it, but I think Jake knows better than that. I think he does.
Yeah. And if he doesn't, he better go back and watch some of her tapes. I done seen her knock out people, and then she has to go back over and check on them. Like, are you gonna make it? You better watch the tape, my guy. It's not
right.
That's not what you want in your life. You better keep asking for Conor McGregor, and then just be like, oh, well, he wouldn't fight me, and leave it at that. All right, let's move on to this next one because we already talked about this a little bit. We are all very, very happy that Giannis signed his new contract. He's making that $45 million per year through 2025. We're all excited about it. He actually posted some pictures about that. The Bucks retweeted it. He says that I have loyalty in my DNA. I think that's super cute, but nobody is talking about how he's talking about he has loyalty in his DNA. Do y'all see this picture? It's odd if you can't tell, but maybe check out again. It's an odd picture. He's just so massively bigger than that other guy. And Brook Lopez nailed it on the head as to what I was looking at. You can see it again. This one, it looks like he's damn near proposing or the man has tiny hands or something. I don't know. The picture just looks off to me. Brook Lopez zoomed in on that and saw what I was seeing, and he said exactly what I was thinking. He said it would be both an honor and very embarrassing to shake hands with Giannis. Because I'm not about to put my hand in your hand and you make me look like I'm a non-existent child. No, we'll fist bump. I'm not shaking your hand, my guy. This is embarrassing. And I have little hands, so I feel Brook Lopez on this. No, this would be I'd be excited to shake Giannis's hand, but embarrassed at the same time. So thank you for pointing that out, Brooke. I appreciate you. But this next one is going to be a lot of fun because what this one is, we're going to close this one out and make sure we take a second to make Britt's baby fever even worse. So Leo, cue up Celtic Rob Williams' daughter watching her dad play basketball. Let's turn up the baby heat on Britt because this is adorable.
Dad, he's right there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Oh, where's my dad? I got it.
That's your daddy? Where'd he go? Oh.
Brett, how you feeling?
That was so cute. I'm not even like a little. Y'all are getting me to simp too much on here. I'm not trying to be the simper of the channel, and I don't like simping, and I don't like being in my feelings. But that was cute. Serge,
right?
Where's Serge at? Serge.
Hey, Britt, I'm sure you can win him over. You just got to eat the food.
I'm not eating the food. I need all of y'all. If you guys really love me, y'all go to Serge Ibaka's DMs and be like, hey, you should talk to this girl named Britt Johnson. I think you guys will look cute together and make beautiful babies.
Do it. All right, me and Devin will start that.
I can't slide in his DMs. Yeah. Tell him to DM me. I can't slide in his DMs. I just can't.
You're right.
Okay. Britt, if we do this for you, then do it for me for Jimmy Garoppolo.
No. I knew you were gonna say that. I was like, no, because Jimmy G is my favorite little white boy. No,
right.
Pick another one because I need backup if Serge don't work out. Okay.
Oh. Okay, I'll take Kelly Oubre Jr.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
that's a good one.
You can have it.
That's good.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, you
This
can
sucks
have
because
it.
mine is taken. I can't even get y'all to simp for me because mine's already married. Boo his boo. Let me think of somebody that y'all can slide in their DMs for me because I don't want to be the one out here by myself. Y'all both get booed up and I'm just here.
Who should
Kelly
we
is
slide
already
in
engaged.
for Jackie?
Yeah, I need a. Oh, you Blake. I'll do Blake. Blake Griffin.
Blake Griffin?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now that if he was still a Clipper, I'd be like, no, he's mine as well. But now he's with the Pistons, you can have him.
Great. You can't claim everybody.
Right. Britt about to say her own harem over here.
You're all mine. Give me.
All right, so everybody has their respective slide. Let's get it in. Let's help each other out. Sisters unite. That's what we doing.
Perfect.
Y'all can
All right, you guys. All right, let me close this one out with what we not going. Oh,
gave you Michael B. Jordan.
Stop. Y'all would never see me again. Y'all would never see me again. I would be in the house all the time, barely clothed. Y'all would never see me again. Don't do that. Don't do that. Let me move on.
Productive still, so no.
Right. I just gonna be like, where you at? I'm still here waiting. No, I don't need that in my life. I still want to have a full-on life. All right, let's get that. Let's move on to this next one because I'm going to close out with what we're not going to do because this one is interesting to me. So if you guys haven't heard, Chicago Bears defensive lineman Mario Edwards Jr., he's been charged with assault. Apparently there was a domestic violence type of situation. Let me just say this before I dive into this one, because this one is not going to be politically correct. I'm going to say some things that might bother y'all, so just prepare for that. Because there are court documents that have been filed, again, regarding the allegations regarding Edwards, and they're from a woman who says that she had a dating relationship with him. Okay, first of all, dating means you're seeing more than a couple of people, right? So let's stop pretending, ladies, that when you're dating somebody, that means that you're on the hook with that person, because that's not what that means. Now, let's move on. This woman claims that Mario got violent with her in North Carolina back on October 17th. It was the day before the Bears played the Carolina Panthers. And she said he got aggressive with her because he invited her to her hotel, and then he got aggressive with her when she turned down his advances for sex. Okay, I'm going to stop there again because, of course, ladies, anytime you say no, no means no all the time. But what we're not going to do is go to this man's hotel room and pretend like he wants to play parcheesi. You know why you are there. And if you do not want to get physical, don't go. It's really that easy. But let us continue. So the woman claims that when she turned him down for sex, he got upset. She took out her phone to record him, and then he slapped the phone out of her hands and inadvertently hit her in the eye. Then she claims he grabbed her, drug her to the door, and then drug her down the hall to the elevator. And then she claims that when he got her to the elevator, that he hit her in the arm. So this is where I went over to TMZ, because we all know, we remember the Ray Rice situation. We remember the Greg Hardy situation. We remember, if there's video or pictures, TMZ is going to have it. TMZ is going to have those pictures. They're going to have that footage. There's obviously video in the hallways of every hotel. So I went to TMZ. TMZ does not have any documentation, no videos, no pictures from the bruises that she says she had. Now, this happened back in October, so I would assume that TMZ would have this by now because she's claiming that she has injuries. TMZ doesn't have any of that. What TMZ does have, though, is the actual police report. And in the actual police report, the police wrote down that they were responding to a woman hitting a man. That would be Mario. That they were responding to a woman hitting a man, and then when they arrived to the scene, that man, being Mario, had scratches on his forehead and face, which makes him sound like he's the victim, right? So once again, this situation gets a little weird. And what I really like in this situation is Mario's agent, Peter Schaefer. He has said that he has sat down with not only Mario, but all of his clients, and he has told them, when you get in a situation with a woman, if she gets heated, if she gets escalated, you stop everything and you walk away. And I think that's exactly what every single agent needs to be telling these athletes, because things can get out of hand very, very quickly, and you have a lot to lose. The woman doesn't. you have a lot to lose in this situation. So I love that he took time to sit down with his client to tell him that. And Mario was like, this is absolutely false. This is not what happened. She hit me, which again, from the original police report, there's actually evidence to support that. But again, we have no photos, no video footage, nothing. So look, everybody in this situation gets a what we not gonna do. What we not gonna do, ladies, is go to hotel rooms of athletes and think that we're going to have Bible study. We're not gonna do that. We're gonna stop doing that today. What we not gonna do, athletes, is invite women over to our hotel who don't know their role. There are plenty of get around girls in the league who know what they're there for. They know what they're supposed to do. Call one. Stop calling these women who trying to get that anchor baby into your money. Don't do that. Call one of them get around girls that know their part. What we not gonna do, justice system, is write a police report that says this man was being hit, he has scratches in his face, and then flip that around and say now that he's going to court and he has been charged with a misdemeanor assault on a woman. Everybody got a what we not going to do in this situation. At the very least, a further investigation is needed, but everything that is written down on paper right now says that this shouldn't even be happening. This is so silly to me. I do not like this at all. And I'm not opposed to further investigation, because if he put his hands on her, he put his hands on her and he needs to be punished for that. But that's not what the police report said. And there's no evidence to say different. So Devin, I'm going to come to you really quickly. Mm-hmm. Tell me your thoughts on this situation.
Oh, gosh. I don't know. This one's a tough one because I'm typically the person that always wants to, see from the women's perspective, because I know that there are women who have been the victims of abuse and violence who never are taken seriously by their family, by law enforcement. So I always like to be the person that's like, you know what, I'll believe you. But yeah, with no pictures, with no, evidence like that, it does make me question the validity of all of this. I don't know. I wish you didn't call on me for this one, because I just feel like I don't even know what to say here. But I think I'm with you, but I'm always gonna kind of delay making a decision until there's just more information about what's going on.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all I got for what we not gonna do. Everybody in this situation needs to do better. Every single person. All right. But now it's time. Are you ready, Devin? Or are you still deep in thought about this whole? You look like you were in deep thought, like, oh, God.
I wasn't deep thought. Okay.
Okay. Yes. Now it's time for Brit's takes.
Brit's takes.
That was trash. I'm just gonna let Devin go think about what she said or whatever. I thought she was frozen personally. I was like, is Devin
right?
frozen?
I didn't know what was happening. Oh
Look away from the light, Devin. Look away from the light. All right, guys. It is time for Brit's take. This one is going to be an interesting one, and I don't know how I feel about it. This is not the one. This is from yesterday. I think. Yes. That was yesterday's one, Leo. Come on, Leo. Look away from the light as well, Leo. But this one, it doesn't matter. This is going to be great. This is going to be great because I'm talking about everybody's favorite athletes and how much they get paid. So there was something that was released on social media yesterday, and it had the top 10 athletes that are getting paid, obviously, this season. Yes, we are about to show people the money, but when we do that, we got to put the trophy away. So these are the 10 highest valued NBA contracts. Some of them, yes, are up for some serious, what? So obviously we know Giannis just signed that huge deal yesterday for $228.2 million. Russ, Steph, Anthony Davis, Klay Thompson, all of those seem like they make sense, right? Then we have Tobias Harris. I love Tobias Harris as a human being. I loved him as a player. You guys know he had a stint with my Clippers before he ended up getting traded to the Sixers, and he's been on the Sixers since. He averaged this last season about 20 points a game, about 7 rebounds. He's a good player. I love him as a player. I think he's a better person because he's been really big with social justice stuff and all that kind of stuff and been very vocal in the community. And he's done a lot of stuff. He just donated huge amounts to like COVID relief, and he's done the same with racial injustices and stuff like that. So love the man. But the 6th highest paid player in the NBA, that's kind of crazy. And then Chris Middleton, again, love the guy. He's cool as well, but I don't think he should be on the list either. And then after, obviously, we have Ben Simmons, Paul George, who we know just signed that extension with the Clippers to stay longer, and Lillard, my favorite player. So that I think is obviously well-deserving. Now, another interesting thing I realized about this list is when these players got these contracts, so we know Steph Curry and Klay Thompson are on this list now, but when they won their 3 championships, they were not making money. They actually took pay cuts in order to put together the team that they had to win those championships. There are 2 guys from the Bucks on here, Giannis and Chris Middleton, who have not won championships with the Bucks. Actually, they got out a little earlier than people predicted they would in the Eastern Conference playoffs. Dame has never won a championship. Paul George, Ben Simmons, like the only person on here is Anthony Davis, and he just signed this contract to stay longer, which could then mean the Lakers not going to win a championship anymore, because what happens when we talked about it yesterday, because people were suggesting that Giannis even should have asked for more money or waited longer. You guys were saying that in the chat yesterday. But when you do that, the NBA has a cap. They have a salary cap. This is not baseball. Baseball, you can be like the Yankees were a couple years ago and have 5 guys on your team that literally are part of the top 10 highest paid baseball players in the game. And you can have whatever you want to pay players. The Dodgers pay their players well, and that's why we won the World Series this year, because we were able to afford to have all these guys come and Mookie come and all these guys come and David Price come on this team and be great because we have money, because we are one of the richest baseball organizations there is. That is like the problem with not having a cap, is you can literally buy the team that you want. But in basketball and in football, you can't do that. Basketball and football are a bit different. Basketball has a soft cap. So if a team had a player on their team and another team offered the player X amount of dollars, which is why we know they have the max contracts, the super max contracts. If another team offered, you actually have the ability to go over your cap to match another contract in order to keep your player on your team. A lot of teams don't necessarily do that all the time, but that is something that is available, because then obviously down the road you're going to have problems. But you can match a contract, and that's what the soft cap is. The hard cap is the NFL. This is the salary cap. You can't go over it. No ifs, ands, buts about it. But the NBA does have, which is why sometimes you'll see teams negative in their salary cap, which is because they've been able to match other contracts in order to keep players. They also now can't bring anybody else in that situation. This is crazy to me, because we're seeing the highest valued NBA contracts right here, and none of these guys are winning championships, and to be one of the highest paid players, that is something that you kind of have to deal with in a sense. You literally can't make this top dollar. Russell Westbrook and James Harden were both on the same team. James Harden had that huge contract. Russell has that contract, and they were not able to bring a center on the team. They couldn't bring a big guy on the team. They couldn't have, so many different things happen, and they had a bunch of guys that obviously were still decent players. I'm not saying that then you just have nobody on your squad, because the NBA's salary cap has gone up, but you have a situation where you don't have the ability to pay players and to have a successful team. The same thing with, we can go all the way back to the Chicago Bulls. The Chicago Bulls won those 6 championships because their players were not being paid very well. Michael Jordan was not the highest paid player in the game at that time. We know the Scottie Pippen crazy contract where he was getting $17 million or whatever it was for 7 years. So there's a difference between putting together, because this is a team sport. I don't know if you guys realize that or not. just because you have the guy on your team that is the best in the league and he's the highest paid player in the game, he's not necessarily going to win a championship by himself. Most teams that we have seen, especially teams that have these situations where they are winning back-to-backs or multiples, like we saw with the Warriors, in this decade, and like we saw with the Bulls back in the 90s and stuff like that. Those teams were not having a star player where they paid. Even Kobe Bryant had taken tons of pay cuts and didn't have these max contracts while he was with the Lakers and while the Lakers were winning, because they had to bring other guys on the team. They had to have Fish on the squad. They had to have Shaq on the squad. Different guys they had to have come on the squad in order to win these championships and get these 5 rings. So I think it is interesting point that we point out that guys that make top dollar checks are not part of championship teams. And does this now mean for Anthony Davis that the Lakers possibly won't win it because paid him so much money? There's so many questions because of that top 10. You would think you would see, LeBron James isn't even on that list. You would think you would see guys that we know or we think are the best players in the game making the most money, but that isn't necessarily the case all the time. LeBron wanted to win a ring, so he was okay with not taking this crazy supermax deal in order to do that. So at what point do players, again, a lot of these guys on this list, like Clay, Steph, they won their rings already and then got their check after. So you have those athletes that are like that while they're, younger, when they are very well deserving of higher salaries, that they're taking pay cuts in order to win championships. Or you have guys that, won it early, later on and took those high checks early. So there's some guys that took big payouts early in their career, and then now they're at their end of the career and they're taking less money, like LeBron James did, So I think it's very interesting. I was so interested by this list and I want to see how it kind of pans out, because several of those guys, like the Bucks are paying they have 2 of the highest contracts on their team. And what is that going to mean for the Bucks? Going to pay off for the Bucks this season? We actually haven't even been talking about the Bucks as being the contenders to come out of the Eastern Conference. People have been talking about the Nets and the Miami Heat squad. So what does that mean to have this situation where you're paying these guys so much money, but now you don't have enough money to pay anybody else on the roster? So I think it's very interesting. I love to see how this plays out this season. And if some of these guys that are on this top 10 list for the highest paid contracts for this season, if they end up in situations where they do end up winning a championship this year. Jackie, I want to go to you really quick. What do you think about this? Do you think players should be worried more about their money, or should they be worried about a ring, or do you think they have it calculated to where they're like, okay, like LeBron, he got some, bigger contracts early on. He was, I want to win another ring, so I'm okay with taking a pay cut here. Do you think players kind of look at their whole career and kind of figure that out in advance? Like, I'll take my pay cuts here. I'm going to try to make my money at this point because I think this team is a team that can really win a championship. Like, what are your thoughts, or what do you think the players are thinking? Is it all about the money? Is it all about the rings, or a combination?
I don't think they think about it like that. I think up front they want that money because, nothing is promised. So they want that money up front. But then I think, LeBron had a very unique situation. His path was a little bit preordained. You know what I mean? Like, there was just some things, the Heat took a pay cut to bring him there. So he was kind of he saw that happen. He knew what that meant. He saw guys that were willing to do that to get the ring. So that was already in his head. So he's seen it before, so he had no problem to do it. And now he's at the end of his career. And I think someone in the chat, it's past me, so I don't know who it was, but someone in the chat said that, like, guys, once they're older, they do take pay cuts, in an effort to get a ring. But the problem with that is if you're getting a bunch of vets to take that pay cut, then you have to wonder, are they going to be the productive? You really want those young guys who are hungry, who are coming up and have that talent, and they don't have to worry about re-aggravating some injury, and they're older now and they're not healing right. So it's really kind of this catch-22. I do agree with the fact that, AD is worth the money. But now you are in a situation where you have to once LeBron is out of there, you're going to have to really hope and pray you get a really dope young squad in there that you don't have to pay a bunch of money, or you're going to have to hope that some vets are ready to come in. They're not that far deep at the end of their career, and they want to come in and take a pay cut to get a ring. But those are a lot of what ifs. You know what I mean? There's no guarantee that either of those things are going to happen. So then it becomes like what you said. Okay, he got this one ring and he's got the money. Is he good now? Is that all he really wants? Because now there's no guarantee that once LeBron is gone, you're going to have this momentum again. So I don't think they think about it. I think the first and foremost thought is the money, and then the trophy comes after that. I think that comes for everybody. I think with LeBron, it was a little different because everyone clowned him so much, and he really wanted that trophy. And he's been chasing it ever since. He's been doing everything he can to get that ring, you know, ever since that first one. So I think that's a little different. But we live in a show me the money society, and I don't think these ball players are any different.
Well, and point of the guarantee, the only guarantee is the money, you know, like those contracts are guaranteed contracts. So it's like, okay, should I go in hopes for a ring with a team that might not? Because, you know, we've seen many times before teams that were supposed to win it all that don't win it all, you know. Hi, Clippers fan here. But we've seen that so many times before. So it's you do get in a situation where you're like, well, the money's guaranteed. I need to go get that and then hope that I'm good enough to have other guys come around me and take these pay cuts to play with me so we can win a championship and just go from there. So very interesting. But yeah, that's Britt's take for today, y'all. We'll see how this season pans out with these 10 guys that are the most valued players in the league as for money, and see if it transitions onto the basketball court.
And to be fair, Britt, you're the only one who thought the Clippers were supposed to win it all. We on this side, or let me see, this side of the screen thought it was the Lakers.
And if Chris Clark was still here, we did have 2 for 2. Chris Clark thought my Clippers were too, okay?
But he's not. He's not here now, though.
Chris was also always wrong, so that should have been the first clue. Chris cannot be counted on.
He jinxed me. That's what happened. It was all Chris Clark. That's why he ain't on the show anymore, y'all. Don't mess with me, and you don't mess with me, okay? That's why he ain't on the show no more.
That's hilarious.
We'll blame Chris for all of our problems now that he's no longer here to defend himself.
Right.
So you guys, let's wrap up this show now. We'll be back again at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time tomorrow. So turn on those notifications so you know exactly when we're going live. Subscribe, leave a comment below, share this video with your friends, wash your hands, wear a mask, and we'll see you guys later. Happy hump day, everybody. Bye.
Show me the money!